No, dead. They're all dead.
Mamma mia!
The following views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the producers, hosts, and or guests of the Bitter Marks podcast. We assume no responsibility for any errors or omissions in the content provided.
Listener discretion is advised.
Bitter Marks! Bitter Marks! What's up, smooth babies? Welcome to Bitter Marks! It's your favorite non-wrestling wrestling podcast coming to you every Friday morning at bittermarks.com or wherever you get your podcasts from. If this is your first time joining us, thanks for checking us out. Feel free to email us, bittermarks@gmail.com. Get a hold of us, ask us any questions you want, pro wrestling, non-wrestling, anything. We will talk about anything. We're at episode 105 now. It's slim pickings. You'll see. Anyway, I'm your host. My name is Sasha, and I'm joined by my dear friend. Oh, I couldn't read my handwriting. I thought it said former First Lady. It actually says former indie ref, Peewee.
Oh, not even the first indie ref. Oh, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm good. Woo! I just ran 5 miles.
Really?
Haven't ran 5 miles in 2-3 months, and so my legs were wobbly.
Was someone chasing you?
No.
Was the ice cream truck down the block?
I wish. I would touch the ice cream man for some sweet choco tacos. You know what I'm saying? I guess I could use cash. I got cash.
I'm shocked that you're able to do that still. That's wow. Is that just for exercise?
Yeah. Just to get moving. I'm getting a little soft around the edges, and my wife has been crushing. She bought a Peloton, and she's
What
been
is a
crushing.
Peloton? Is that like one of those?
It's a fad.
No, I'm thinking of a music thing. What's the music thing that keeps track of the beats? The
Metronome.
metronome. Yeah.
Speaking of keep track of the beats, we're joined by the punctual prince of podcasting from parts unknown Illinois. It's Producer Tony.
What's up, everybody? How are we doing tonight? It is a beautiful night here in Parts Unknown.
Yeah, that's why I ran. It's the first time that we've had nice weather.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think it hit 80 today here in Parts Unknown.
Hell yeah.
And it's not humid yet. It's like a cool 80, which is great. But running hurts. I don't run like ever. That's a bad idea for me.
It's probably a bad idea for me as well. I have a bad right knee that I refuse to go to the doctor until I get COVID. So, I'm trying not to see the doctor, obviously, but whatever. Who cares about cardio? Let's talk about things that really matter. Guys, tomorrow is our 2-year anniversary. We did it. Almost. Unless this is the last show that we ever do. In which case we did not do it. But tomorrow, 2 years.
Wow.
What do you guys think?
It has flown. I didn't realize it was. I didn't know if it was this week or next week or when it was, but it really has flown by. Considering we've done this for, basically every week for 2 years straight. It does not seem like that. It seems like just yesterday we were going down to Tony's basement to record to watch Wrestlemania and then record the first podcast. Wow, that's very shocking. I was not even considering that.
It's been 2 years since you guys are like, hey, let's do a podcast. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm in. Let's do it. And then you're like, every week we're going to talk wrestling. And I'm like, did you say every week? Like, how about
You already said yes. You already said yes.
How about every month? How about every 2 weeks? Can I talk you out of this? And you're like, no, we're going to do every week. And by God damn it, you guys have done it. I have not. But
what's the bigger issue? The fact that it's every week or the fact that we talk wrestling?
No, it's just the every week thing.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't do anything every week. Like, even the Scoop and Poop podcast, I get like 6 months off. You know what I mean? I don't got to go that hard. But every week...
Yeah, we can tell that the Scoop and Poop guys, not you, but and not Turtle, but anyone else involved in that podcast, they really don't put forth an effort. You know what I mean? It's kind of a 2/3 assed operation you guys got going over there.
I gotta say, it has been nice though. It's been 2 years of us getting together once a week to sit down and talk. Like, this is me not being bitter, not being jokey about anything. It's just seriously, I'm very antisocial normally. If it weren't for this podcast, I don't know how much outside of the house talking I'd be doing. It's been a great outlet for me. I hate what we talk about, but it's been great.
The only reason I agreed to do this is because I just wanted to hang out with you guys. Like, that's it, for like an hour every week. And it's been great.
And I'm gonna continue adding to this cheese fest by saying that I've actually talked to Megan about it too. I was like, man, I don't know if I would talk to Peewee and Tony as much as I do,
right?
If it wasn't for this podcast. So even like sometimes we come on here, not sometimes, a majority of the times we come on here and we're like, ugh, this again. But it always ends up, in my opinion, being a good time. And
it also encourages us to text throughout the week, like random wrestling stuff, so we have stuff to talk about. Like it's really encouraged the interactions between the three of us, and I mean people outside the podcast as well. Putski's involved in some of the text chains. Primetime's in there. It's been, I think, overall, other than the content of the show, this show has been very positive to my life.
But you know what? To speak about the content of the show as well, I feel like we've done nothing over 2 years. But then going back, especially with the PWI 500, I'm like, wow, we have put out a lot of stuff. We have talked about so much stuff. No wonder we have nothing else to talk about. Like,
yeah, that's true. It's been there's been a ton.
Yeah,
I was thinking about the PWI 500 and how excited you got
think about it every
this
day.
year. Right, that's what I'm saying. How excited you get, and how angry you were that we didn't get 500 items for the PWI 500. And that's got to make me believe that in March of next year, you're going to be really trying to get 500 new topics. And if I did the math on that, if you're just doing from our let's say from right now, our year podcast, we're doing a full year of podcast from now until the next PWI 500. That's 50 episodes, 52 episodes. That's 10 items an episode that you need to. What are you showing me? Is this your current list that you have going?
Yeah,
he already has the list going for next year. BM PWI 500. Oh, Bitter Marks PWI 500. That makes sense.
There you go.
Yeah, he's already started it. But my point is that you have to call, on average, 10 items per episode to enter to get to 500 by this time next year.
Don't forget about the stuff that I forgot in the first 100 episodes.
Sure. But I don't think there was that much that you forgot. I don't think you're getting enough. I challenge you to get to 500 by next year. I don't think it's going to happen.
I'm going to enter Sasha's neck stroking in the
PWI
500.
Remind me. Actually, it's in the podcast. I will put that down as I edit this.
That's going to be on a 1 seed next year.
I came up with 128 things in like 2 days. So imagine I have a full year to come up with stuff.
Okay.
As long as we're here next year, I think that it will be. I mean, more on that to come later in the show.
We're getting. Okay. Okay. What else?
Happy 2 years, fellas.
Thank you. You too.
I do want to say for the 2-year episode, we did get another state. We got Massachusetts in the building. That's our 36th state in 2 years. So we got 14 left. Obviously,
I can't believe how many states we have. We don't know anybody in Massachusetts, I'm assuming, right?
I don't know. Part of me thinks this is all our dear friend Ivica at Kim Jong-ilmatic on Twitter.
Sure,
just driving to different states and downloading the episodes. But that's fine. I'll accept that. That's a asterisk or whatever, but whatever. Barry Bonds is the greatest baseball player of all time. I don't look at the asterisk. I just know he hit humdingers. You know what I mean? We are verbally hitting humdingers in 36 of the 50 states in America.
All right, I had something cool happen to me yesterday.
That was bullshit.
What do you want from me?
I want a long, hesitating pause. All right, just go ahead.
Oh, you thought it was... Sure, keep all that in, too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I had something cool happen to me yesterday. Cool to me, not cool to literally anybody else. But I was in a Twitch chat with some of the guys from that Major Wrestling Figure podcast group. I've been a part of Hornswoggle. Hornswoggle is doing a Twitch live stream every Monday. If you're bored, check it out on Twitch. I don't know what his channel name is, but it's a good time. And in there, we started talking about random, just old wrestling stories. And one of the guys that was on the video, who wasn't a big... he's not a huge wrestling fan, but even more so, he's not a big ECW fan. he brought up a name that I haven't thought about, and yet is one of my favorite ECW names of all time yesterday. And the amount of response that this name got in the chat blew my mind. The chat blew up by mentioning this guy. Now, Sasha, I was going to have you guess as to who it is, but I'm assuming because of our pre-podcast chat, you already know that I'm talking about the man, the myth, the legend, Tom Marquez.
That's true. I would have probably guessed Simon Diamond at some point.
Okay.
Which he did work with Simon Diamond. I would have probably guessed Chris Chetty, maybe a Chili Willy, because I know you would have gone obscure. But I don't think I would have ever made it to Tom Marquez.
Do you remember Tom Marquez?
Flushed the name Tom Marquez from my memory banks. You need to explain who this guy is.
Tom Marquez, better known as the Prodigy in ECW, was just a job guy. He would open the show, but he had TV time.
Eventually, he was in a stable with Simon Diamond, Jason, who I believe is a Serbian professional wrestler. And Jazz, I want to say, was in that group.
The Prodigette was in there. There was a female Prodigy.
Was there really? Who?
Yeah.
Who
I don't know
that?
who it was. I have no idea.
Okay.
So the guy that brought this up, not only did he bring up Tom Marquez's name, but the story that he brought up for Tom Marquez is unbelievable. No one knows where Tom Marquez is now. Like, not only fans have no idea, but more specifically, ECW wrestlers don't know where he is. According to the guy that was talking last night, it is Danny Doring's lifelong dream and goal to find out where Tom Marquez is.
Wow.
He's off the grid. He's
That's
probably
right.
like,
He's off the grid, right?
Yeah.
You know, I searched for his Wikipedia page. I couldn't find it. I did find a wrestling Wikipedia page that said he's from Puerto Rico. And that was it, pretty much. And it gave the nickname The Prodigy and nothing else.
Oh, my boy.
So
do you remember my love for this guy?
Yeah, I remember.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
why, but I do remember.
I like the underdogs. I made him as a custom guy in No Mercy, and he was my
He
top
was
guy
not
in
an
No
underdog.
Mercy.
He was-
Underdog.
He was like a dead dog, I believe. There was no chance he would win a match, right? I
No,
mean,
I
could
don't
be
know if
wrong.
he ever got a one. No, I definitely don't know what his finish was.
I feel like he was one of those guys like the Baldies who were working ring crew and then also wrestling.
Yeah, the ring crew is what got them a spot on the card.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I agree with you. All right, you
Well,
brought... What do you want to say?
No, good. I wanted 10 more minutes on Tom Marquez.
A second ago, you brought up Barry Bonds. And this is the second time this week that I've heard the name Barry Bonds, which is, again, another... I mean, it's almost a Uncle Louie moment. The Tom Marquez one is definitely an Uncle Louie moment just because he's near and dear to my heart. The Barry Bonds thing is not so much an Uncle Louie moment because you brought him up on this podcast, and the other time that I heard him this week was you talking about him again on the STF Underground podcast this week.
Yeah, I also have a baseball podcast where I strictly talk about Barry Bonds.
I knew you were co-hosting the STF Underground podcast last week. I didn't know you were doing it again this week until I saw a tweet that you were included on. How is that going?
It's fine. I like it. I am a big fan of the guy I am working with. His name's Dan Rhino. He's going to be on this podcast maybe in the next month or two. He wants to play Dead or Alive, and
Nice.
and he's just a really nice dude. Yeah, it's been going well. Our dear friend Suave had a baby girl, and so he's taking a couple weeks off, and then the 100th episode of that show is this week. And so I potentially will be on again this week to talk about WrestleMania and stuff. It's hard. It's hard for me because it's like actual wrestling talk, you know.
You have to do research and stuff. You have to... Is that the
Not
problem?
research-
You have to
No,
actually
I
watch
watch the
Raw?
shows, but
you do?
I watch
Okay.
them in a fast forward. So maybe I will miss something here or there. If I fast forward too much, I'm not going to go back to see what Cedric Alexander had to say.
Sure.
Just okay, I'll skip that segment or whatever. I mean, I catch most everything, but I don't follow dirt sheets, and so I don't know rumors and stuff like that. So I feel like sometimes I probably say stupid stuff, or stuff that's already out there and whatever.
So you
But it's
feel like
fun.
me every time I do this podcast, then, pretty much.
I mean, but there's no Well, I guess there's no pressure on that podcast either. But I mean, this podcast is all over the place. Like you're sitting there taking selfies with Otis. If anyone wants to see that, check out the YouTube page.
Always.
Like we don't care here. We're having a good time. We like to talk about a little bit of everything. Over there it was me and Dan Rhino. So he's like asking me questions, and then I'm like, yes. Johnny Gargano has small, weak feet.
Wait, so you don't talk about Otis every week there? That's a no deal for me.
No, like we don't even talk. I mean, it's different these couple of weeks because WrestleMania is coming up, but there's no talk of Raw or SmackDown on that show because nobody watches it because it sucks horribly.
That's
bad.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I was just curious. Okay.
That was it?
Yeah, I don't have anything. I listened to some of it. You sounded good, but that's it.
When do you sleep, Sasha? When you do 3 podcasts a week for the past 2 weeks?
Actually, I have a 4th podcast. It's called This Week in Truck, which it's just me driving around in my truck talking about whatever I'm thinking about. So I only record it while I'm in my truck driving.
You joked about this before, or at least what I thought was a joke. Is this a real thing?
Yeah, and the acronym is TWIT, which is perfect. It's like, whatever, This Week in Truck. I love it.
Do you publish this?
I mean, not yet, but I'm recording it. It will be published starting like next month or whatever. I'm not going to pay for it. I'm doing like the free up to 6 hours. Like you can do a free podcast on whatever thing. Yeah. And so
Connor is getting very obsessed with podcasting. I'm definitely going to jump on board.
Don't quote me on the number of hours, but I think it is up to 6 hours.
That's fantastic. Okay.
I could be wrong. Maybe it's 3 or something, but you don't get stats and who cares? But I'm going to do like a free version and it's literally me talking in a truck. So if that's your thing, if that's what you're into,
if that's what you're jonesing for, all right.
If that's your VHS tapes, then enjoy. Speaking of jonesing, I was jonesing for some movies this week, and it was Saturday, I want to say, and I texted Tony, and I'm like, hey, can you put 2 of these movies on the Lex Luger Slam, whatever we call it, this week? and he goes, I am bowling, and it is done. And I'm like, what? Like, I meant, like, in the next 3 months, because, it takes me a while to watch.
That's not how Tony operates. You request, and it is wish granted.
And I felt so bad, because you worked very quick and hard, that I was like, okay, I have to watch this weekend. Like, so I watched one of them.
So I have a very terrible memory. So if somebody asks me to do something, if I don't do it like in the next like hour or 2, I'm gonna forget.
Sure.
So if I had the time, I had like 5-10 minutes in between bowling games. So I jumped on my phone and I'm able to manage it from my phone. I have the DVDs at home. And I just had to copy the files.
Yeah,
because it's all 100% legal.
You just had to call somebody who was at your house, and they took care of business.
Yeah, one of my dogs, I got him trained very well. I'm like, hey, go get Anchorman 2 on Blu-ray. And then he put it in the thing, and then I was able to, add it. But,
so you don't watch movies. What was the movie you requested? I saw that Tony added a bunch of Ice Age movies.
Anchorman 2.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Which I did not watch. And then the Billie Eilish documentary. I don't expect you to understand any of those words, Peewee.
I don't know who the fuck that is. And I hear that name all the time.
Dude.
So enlighten us, Sash.
Okay. All right. I am a 38-year-old male. And this is a 19-year-old girl. And she writes dark... I don't even know what to call it. It's pop music. She's like one of the biggest artists in the world. But she's basically been super popular since she was like, 16. She sent in a song to a radio station. They played it. She blew up. The song Bad Guy, you've heard the song Bad Guy? Yeah, that's Billie Eilish.
No,
and so she's got incredible... I mean, she's like very dark, she's depressed and all this stuff. Her family is so weird. It's her and her brother. Her brother's like the producer. He plays guitars. He plays keys and everything. Tony, I honestly think you would really enjoy it. I don't know if you'd like the music or not, like depending on how open-minded you would like to be on that day that you listen to her. but I think you would really dig that album because it ended up winning like 7 Grammys or something like that. And it was all recorded in her bedroom, in like a 10 by 12 bedroom. And so the documentary is, half of it is like shows, like her on tour, her playing Coachella, her like doing all these stadiums and everything. And then the other half is her recording the album in her room. And when you listen to the album, you're like, this was recorded in a bedroom? But the music itself is so... I mean, I say pop, but it's not like Taylor Swift pop. It's like dark and weird and trippy, and the lyrics are not like happy. But she's not like a drug user or anything, so it's just like a whole bunch of weird stuff. And
Okay.
it's really, really good. And now that it is on the Lex Luger Lex Express, I think you should at least give it a try. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes, and I watched it. Like 2 hours and 20 minutes is... I don't know anything that I've done 2 hours and 20 minutes in my life. So, I don't know. Whatever. It was pretty good. I also watched The Last Blockbuster this weekend.
There you
Because VHS for
go.
life.
Yeah. I'm surprised
And
that you
That's
didn't.
on Netflix, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna have to pull that one up and catch that.
Honestly, here, I'll say this. Tony, that was a movie that I requested you to put on the Plex like 2 months ago. It was just in a random text, and I'm just assuming you either missed it or, like you said, forgot about it. And then I watched it when it did pop up on Netflix. But it's funny that you... Yeah, exactly. It's funny that you bring that up, because that's exactly what happened with that movie.
It's a very good movie, and obviously VHS for life. I also started listing all of the VHSs that Bishop gave me on eBay. So I did it. I decided to not keep them, and they're going. I gotta get rid of them.
That's a big
I gotta
move.
get rid of them. It was tough. I stayed up till 4 a.m. I told you, I haven't slept for weeks.
Stayed up till 4 a.m. listing?
No, thinking what I should do with these things. But that actually gets us to an email we got here. We got an email from our dear friend Giuseppe. He chimes in and he says, "Hello, gentlemen. The other night I was going down the Twitch retro gaming category rabbit hole, and I stumbled upon a channel right up Sasha's alley.
Hornswoggle.
The person who runs it runs classic commercials day and night. No need to hunt down old VHS tapes to see what commercials are on there. This channel does all the work for you. As a bonus, they also include local commercials from random-ass cities. I only spent about 15 minutes there, but saw some great ones I had forgotten about, like Designer Imposters Perfume and Carefree Gum. Here's the link, twitch.tv/retro commercials. Enjoy." Thank you, Giuseppe. I appreciate that. That means that I have to get Twitch again. I delete Twitch after every time I use it because I figure I'm never going to use it again. And then I just have to re-download and remember my stuff. Also, part of the beauty in commercials is the hunt. You know, I don't want to just watch commercials. I'll turn the television on. But you got to go through the VHS and you got to see what's on. This says, you know, it does all the work for you. You know, Giuseppe, I am one of the hardest working men in show business. Tony just brought it up. When do I sleep? I don't. I got VHS on the mind. I got podcasts all over the place. But I will check it out for sure because I do want to see vintage commercials. I think that might be my next thing. Just watching commercials and not doing any more podcasts. What else we got going on? We made a mistake last week, and our dear friend John sent us an email. He goes, "Hey, the Dudley Boys went into the Hall of Fame in 2018. So the entire ECW conversation that we've been having was incorrect. And I think I messaged you guys before I posted the podcast because I found out about it. Because I did a little Google search to see like who other people thought.
Yeah, someone from ECW had to have gone into whether it was Terry Funk or Scott Hall or somebody like that.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
And it was like... And then I remembered the Dudleys did a speech, but then I thought that speech was them inducting Edge and Christian or something like that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And that's when I found the thing, and here we are today. But thank you, John, for the email. We appreciate it very much. In more crazy news, CU Comedy, our dear friends over at CU Comedy, check out cucomedy.com. They got to be doing shows now. I've seen some of the Instagram ads down there.
Let's go.
They send... Yeah, I'm on the way. they sent a tweet saying that they were very disappointed that Jimmy Wang Yang was not listed in anyone's favorite Japanese wrestlers list. You guys just hate cowboys. And then something interesting happened. And what was that, Peewee?
At first, I thought we were going to get another legal notice. We got a text note or a tweet notification that somebody responded to what the twins had said, and it was just someone by the name of James Young, and he said just 2 words. He said, "I'm Korean." So after digging into this, we realized that was Jimmy Wang Yang responding to the twins, correcting their ethnicity assumption. The most interesting part about this is that they didn't tag him on Twitter. They just put they brought up Jimmy Wang Yang, and they only brought him up via his name, like typed out, but not tagging him.
Tag him, right? Yeah.
And within like an hour or two, he responded to it.
I'm going to guess there's people out there either vanity searching Jimmy Wang Yang, or maybe, alerting Jimmy Wang Yang.
Yeah, I mean, he could. You can set up like Google alerts, like anytime that you are a certain phrase is referenced, that you get notified. That's fine if that's what he did. I did.
Listen, the Wang gang is very strong on the internet, especially on Twitter. Okay, so
it just, it's weird because this is probably the worst time to make a mistake about Asian people. You know what I mean? There's
if
a lot
we were
going
to get
on.
into legal trouble about something, it should much rather be this than the other thing.
We didn't do it.
No, agreed, not us. Agreed.
This is on CU Comedy.
Yeah, go attack them. It wasn't us.
No, however, I will not attack CU Comedy because I hope to be booked there in the future.
Okay, after you get your set in, then let's.
And also, I did think about Jimmy Wang Yang before we did that, and I looked it up.
That's interesting.
And for whatever reason, I didn't even read his Wikipedia or anything like that. After this had happened, I immediately, because I get alerts from our Twitter. So the alert came and it said I'm Korean, and I was like, oh god. So I got it immediately, but I didn't tell you guys because I wanted to bring it up on the podcast if you didn't see it. And so whatever, a couple days later, or was it today that you brought it up? Yesterday?
I don't know, a couple days ago.
I don't know. But either way, I had looked it up right after that response from him. And there's a bunch of pages, including his Wikipedia page. Doesn't mean it's true, but it all says that his character in WWE was a Japanese wrestler playing a cowboy.
Yeah,
So-
and that's what we were talking about, is you didn't have to be specifically Japanese ethnicity-wise. It just had to be something that was related to Japan gimmick-wise.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what he was, yeah.
And now, you guys may not know this, but I've locked eyes with a Jimmy Wang Yang on several occasions. And I believe
didn't we all? Tony, wasn't it at that AEW Fan Fest thing? He was there.
I did not go to the Fan Fest thing.
Gotcha.
I went to the show, but I didn't go to the Fan Fest.
he was there, and I kept turning around and staring at him, as you do when there's somebody next to you, to the point where I thought he was going to say something like, hey, or what's up, or whatever.
Howdy.
Because it was 3 or 4 times. So I believe that one day again we will lock eyes with a Jimmy Wang Yang, and I will bring this up and clear any of the bad rumors or innuendo or whatever. Because CU Comedy does not deserve any sort of blame here. It was just a good reference. And by the way, Jimmy Wang Yang, top 3 Japanese wrestler of all time. So
Fantastic.
Korean Japanese wrestler. You know what I mean? God damn it.
Uh-oh.
There's no uh-oh. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, he has to watch the YouTube. Do you guys want to talk about... Nah, you don't want to talk about Chris Jericho and Sting, do you?
Nope.
Let's talk about...
Curious. I have no idea what it would be.
All right, Jericho
WCW? Are we talking about WCW in 1998?
No, it's an interesting topic, I thought. Chris Jericho, I want to say, had Sting on his podcast, and he mentioned that they were super excited to have Sting, because it was a surprise. Nobody knew Sting, when he was going to be there, right?
In AEW or on the podcast?
AEW knew that Sting was like signed with them, but wrestling fans didn't know. Like, it was rumored.
Oh,
when
yes,
is Sting
yes,
coming?
right.
But that day that it happened, nobody knew Sting was going to be there.
Right.
And so AEW surprised everybody, which is one of the best things in wrestling, when you can actually surprise people. You know what I mean? And after they had did that, Jericho says the network, I'm going to say TNT, but once again, check your facts. He said the network was like, don't ever do that again.
Oh, I did hear this. Yeah.
And so, just like what the WWE always does, where instead of having a surprise, they're like, tune in on Monday because The Undertaker is going to be there. And then, of course, it's to bring more eyes to the product.
I see it both ways. I mean, they're basically saying that, one, you get eyes on the product if you advertise it, versus...
But the product is worse if you don't have surprises.
Yeah, I agree, right. And that's the other side of the sword, is that you need... Part of your product has to have surprises in it, and some of those surprises need to be huge, and some of those need to be small. You need varying ranges on the surprises. So sometimes that... I get what you're saying.
And they ended up doing it because they were told by the network or whatever, don't do that again. That's why they announced Paul White when the Big Show, when he joined AEW, instead of doing a surprise with him. But when they brought him in, he teased the next surprise. And at least at the next surprise
That
they
makes sense.
teased
Yeah,
was like, yeah, it'll be this Sunday.
But even the Paul White one, it wasn't even like they announced that Big Show was going to be on Dynamite in an announcement on Dynamite. They announced it via Twitter. They did one of those like graphics that Paul White is AEW. Like, that is the... To me, that's the total antithesis of what wrestling is. Like, you're killing all sort. At least if you post that graphic during Dynamite on a Wednesday night, you get some sort of pop from the crowd that sees it on the Titantron or whatever AEW has.
Yeah.
By just doing it on Twitter, that's nothing.
Yeah, unless like
I think that's very stupid.
Unless the theory is like, oh wow, did you hear Paul White is gonna be there? You know, like.
Sure, but then make the announcement the week before on the one on the show.
I'm with you. It's all about the TV show, not about the Twitter.
Right, absolutely right. That's what I'm saying.
Guys, WrestleMania is this weekend. It is 2 nights, Saturday and Sunday, and I want to know, are either one of you guys going to watch either night?
I am.
Both?
Yeah, both. As much as I can. My Wisconsin trip to Swogglemania is next week, so a week from WrestleMania. I need to start getting, and Connor he still doesn't know about the trip. I'm going to use this weekend to sit down, and him and I are going to stay up later than normally. He goes to bed at 7 o'clock. He's been asleep for almost 3 hours at this point. I'm going to let him stay up and try to watch most of the show, and at the end of night 2 is when I'm going to tell him about our trip at the end of the following week, when we're going to drive up to Wisconsin and see his first wrestling show.
So you bringing your gear? You on the card?
I'm not on the card, and I am bringing my gear.
Yeah.
Always bring your gear.
Always bring the gear, baby.
Yeah, the flu could be going around. The other refs might get COVID. And somebody might break a leg. They might need to call in a backup.
Somebody crashes a Porsche. You never know what's going to happen.
Right. So yeah, I will definitely be watching night 1 and night 2, as much as I'm interested in after Connor falls asleep.
Tony, any interest?
Well, it's Sunday, and I think it's going to be pretty cruddy out, so I'll just be sitting around. I'll probably flip it on and give it a watch.
Nothing on Saturday, though? No plans for Saturday to watch?
Wait, it's on Saturday, too?
Yeah, 2 nights.
Oh, fuck that. No. I'm not giving this 2 nights. No, Sunday's all they're going to get out of me.
Here's the other interesting part about it. They're allowing about 25,000 fans in the stadium. In a stadium that holds something like 80,000 or whatever it is. Yeah. What do you think about that? This is
that scares me.
This is the WWE. This is Vince McMahon wanting to be like, the biggest attendance since COVID. Like, COVID's over. It's also Florida. And WWE itself has had like several COVID outbreaks since COVID Mania started. So, you think this will go pretty well?
I honestly, on the safety part of it, I have no input. I don't know what precautions they have. I don't know what like rules and regulations they have. It's Florida. There are no rules there. Like,
I heard everybody will have separate igloos, but the igloos will be infected with COVID.
They're just pumping it through the system.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
Did you guys see? Baseball opening day has been this past week, right? And the state of Texas, it has, Sasha, I know.
Okay.
So the state of Texas has no COVID restrictions at all. And the Texas Rangers opened their ballpark at full capacity on opening day.
Wow.
So if you go back and look, I'm sure there's plenty of news articles. It's horrific. The ballpark is full. There's like 60,000 people there. Nobody's wearing masks.
That's crazy.
I cannot wait to see
The numbers.
the spread of what happened there.
I mean, if you want to get a little political about it, we won't see it. Everyone's hiding their numbers, and it doesn't matter
Sure.
what state. Everybody is hiding their numbers, especially the corrupt states, the New Yorks, the Floridas, the Texases. But everybody is hiding stuff. Even here in Illinois, we've been doing a good job with it, but now the numbers have been skyrocketing. I know Michigan went up. Everything's going back up because everybody's like, all right, this stuff's here. Let's just
It's
go
got to
do
be
it.
over, right? Yeah, that's good.
Am I a terrible person? I don't care about the COVID safety stuff with WrestleMania. My only concern with them having fans for WrestleMania is it's the first time they've had fans in over a year. This is going to be the first live reaction that we're getting on television in over a year. I'm terrified.
I wonder how it's gonna look though.
I'm terrified that the first match is going to be a dark match. Selfishly, 100% selfishly, I want to see and I want to be a part of the first reaction that the guys get when they come through the curtain. It needs the first match that is in front of these people needs to be aired, right? Imagine how hot those people are going to be.
Sure. I don't know. I saw a show in Texas, like Tony was talking about. Big cast showed up, right? So that's like the Wrestlemania of Texas, right?
Sure. Everything's bigger.
But yeah, everybody was sitting next to each other. Nobody cares about masks. I don't even care about that stuff. If it seems to be like nobody's getting sick anymore, then good for them. Every place is different. I just think it's weird to go from we're going to have nobody to we're going to have 25,000 people, and don't worry, we got it. Also, we haven't gotten it with nobody there.
Sure,
you know what I mean? Everybody, their own wrestlers are getting sick. But I don't know. I don't know how Florida is. The people don't seem to care. The thing seems to be going away slowly. So maybe it's not a big deal. Whatever we want to argue about that. As far as the crowd being hot, I don't know. You think the crowd's going to be hot? I think it's going to be weird.
No, I think people are dying for live entertainment, and I think the moment that they get it, they're going to explode.
People cannot wait to boo Roman Reigns live in person, just like the old days.
I guess this is a loaded question because no one ever cheers at baseball games. I'm assuming they're sleeping. Were the people going crazy at the Texas game?
Oh yeah.
Oh, they were,
yeah.
huh?
Oh yeah.
Think about. I mean, it's not an accurate comparison, but think about the first show after 9/11 when they shut down everything, and then I mean, it was a wrestling show. The first show, the first big gathering of people was SmackDown, I think, and
but 9/11 was a hoax, so.
God damn it. So the reaction at the beginning of that SmackDown after people had taken 4 days off of live events was, and obviously there's a ton more behind that, and they were singing the national anthem. There was a ton more that went into the emotion there, but this is a year of not having live events, and I think it's going to be a massive, massive reaction that people give.
Yeah, you're right. I think you're right. I think I'm wrong. AEW did something that they said they weren't going to do, which was run a show during WrestleMania weekend. They are doing it. And they are not only doing that, but it's a house show, and they have never ran a house show before. And granted, it is 3 hours away from WrestleMania, but it is kind of an interesting, weird show for them to have. A show that they've never had during a week that they said they would never have a show. It's not like competition or whatever, but I wonder what is behind that decision. You know what I mean?
Is it truly not competition? What day is it on? Do you know?
That's a good question. I thought it was a Saturday, but maybe it's going to be the Friday.
Wrestling fans are idiots. If they're 3 hours away, that doesn't mean that they're not going to both shows. It's just a matter of timing wise, can they make it to both shows?
Yeah. You're right. I mean, but nobody's gonna go to like AEW over WrestleMania. You go to
You're not trying to
AEW.
pull audiences away. That was gonna be my question. Is normally WrestleMania weekend there's 1,000 indie shows in that town.
Yeah.
Is that the same? Are they doing a bunch of indie shows this year in wherever Florida?
I know they're doing like Joey Janela's Spring Break and stuff like that. I just don't know if they're
they
in
are.
Florida or not.
Okay.
I don't know where the locations are.
Okay.
What do you guys? I don't know. I don't want to do favorite WrestleMania moments because we all have like the same ones, like Hogan Andre, Hogan Warrior, Bret Austin, HBK Flair, HBK Undertaker. Even though I've never seen either one of those. Do you guys have any like weird moments that might be one of your favorite of WrestleMania?
Well, I suck Zack Ryder's dick, so I'm gonna go with the moment that he won the Intercontinental Championship in that 6-man.
Okay, I was at your house, I think, when that happened.
Oh, I didn't even know that we saw that. I don't remember seeing that live.
So
we
you
watched it. Yeah, we watched it, and you were like, wow, that's the guy from something, and I had no clue. Like, it must have been at the time when I was not watching wrestling or just getting back
It was
into
probably
it
around
or
like his
something.
YouTube show or something. But
Yeah.
since years have passed and the stories come out, they knew. I mean, fast forward to the end, the Monday after Mania. So Ryder wins the belt at Mania. The next day at Raw, they knew whoever was going to win the belt on Sunday was going to lose the belt back to Miz or somebody. They
It's
knew
always the goddamn Miz.
it was just going to be a 24-hour reign. So because it was going to be a 24-hour reign, the office just said, they talked to the 6 guys in the ladder match and just said, hey, you guys figure it out. Whatever you want to do, whoever you guys think should win the match, you guys can do whatever you want. And all 6 of them voted, and the 6 of the guys decided that Ryder was the not most worthy, because I mean they're all worthy, but he's the guy that hadn't had a shot yet, that was the guy that could do the most with it, or whatever they thought. I just thought it was cool that the 5 or 6 guys came together and all decided on who should win the match.
Do you believe he's like one of the guys who has probably like been on the short end of the stick the most in the WWE? Like they could have done so much more with him and they didn't? Or do you think
No.
he was just what you think he should have been or whatever?
That's my opinion on him, yeah.
Okay. Mine, Tony, do you have anything that comes to mind? I don't expect you to have like any weird, obscure WrestleMania references.
The WrestleMania carts that used to carry the wrestlers from the tunnel to the ring. I always thought it made the event seem much more special than a normal pay-per-view. And it was just like, oh, this is a fancy wrestling show. Like, look at these little carts.
Andre.
So,
they made, they're...
Absolutely. That's the cart right there. He's got Peewee's got a Macho Man figure.
Yeah, they made 4 of them, I think, that come with the actual cart.
I think there's only 2. I think it's just him and Andre.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, they need to bring those back. The carts.
I can't believe they had a cart that carried Andre. Like back then. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. The reinforcement
now,
and Heenan
okay.
at the same time.
That's a roll cage on that cart. Yeah, that's steel reinforced. Absolutely.
One of my favorites is actually we had just gotten back into wrestling. Not just, but we had been back into wrestling. We were watching, started watching indie stuff again, started watching Impact. And it was that day that I've talked about it on this show before, but when the Hardys came back to the WWE, I've never been a Hardys fan, and I popped huge on my couch.
Yeah, agreed. I was also watching it alone, and it's probably the biggest I popped. And I'm not a Hardy. I'm in the exact same boat. It's the biggest I popped alone. I'm not a Hardys fan, but the way that they did it, and New Day teasing that it was just they were entering themselves in the match, and the Hardy Boys interrupting, it was perfectly well done. It was very unexpected. It was what everybody wanted at the time. It was fantastic.
Tony, were you at my house when that happened?
I think I was. I think Santino was sleeping.
Yeah, I think so.
I was in fear of my life from your dog, and we were just like on your couch just watching WrestleMania.
All right, well, I got a little something that's interesting here. I got some, it's time for a little...
Oh, you didn't know?
WrestleMania Facts Edition. Brought to you by The Sportster, a website where I got a bunch of WrestleMania facts. So I wanted to go through these real quick here because we got a couple things left to go. Did you guys know Sid has only wrestled in 2 WrestleManias, and he main evented both of them. How about that?
Wow.
One of them was WrestleMania 8 versus Hulk Hogan, which was supposed to be Hogan versus Flair, but they like wrestled on like the house show circuit, and it was not working. Like they couldn't figure out how to do it, so it ended up being Sid versus Hogan and Macho versus Flair. That was Hogan's last match for a while because he went on hiatus because the steroid scandal trial was starting. And Dave Meltzer gave that match -2 stars. Papa Shango got involved in that match, apparently. I don't remember the match, but this is just what I'm reading from that. And then the other one was actually a match of his that I watched the other day, Sid versus The Undertaker, which took place in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that was Undertaker's second ever world title reign. Another you didn't know is Stone Cold has never defended the title at WrestleMania. So he has never been a champion defending the world title at a WrestleMania, which makes sense. Face going into WrestleMania,
That's
win,
what you want,
huge
yeah.
pop. Bret Hart versus Yokozuna was the first back-to-back years main event. So in 2 years in a row, the main event was Bret versus Yoko. And that wouldn't happen again until The Rock and John Cena did it. Whenever The Rock and John Cena did it, I never saw those matches.
And the first time
Friend of the podcast.
The first time The Rock and Cena did it, they literally booked it, promoted it as the once in a lifetime match, and then they did it the following year, the exact same thing.
There has only been one steel cage match in WrestleMania history. I thought that was interesting. It was WrestleMania 2, Hulk Hogan versus King Kong Bundy.
Yeah.
And this week, it comes back. They're actually having a steel cage match. And if you want to know who's in it, I guess we can wait until my bidder. How about that? The most main events by a wrestler. Any guesses? Most main events in WrestleMania history?
Sean?
What do you got, Tony?
Oh, no, I'm wrong.
Oh, I'm gonna go John Cena as always. Friend of the podcast, John Cena.
Triple
Peewee,
H.
you want to change your answer?
I don't have a good idea of who it is, but I think it's much more likely to be Triple H or a current guy.
Hulk Hogan.
Never mind.
He had 7 and 8 if you actually count WrestleMania 9 when Yokozuna beat Bret Hart in 9 minutes in the main event, and then Hulk Hogan came down and beat Yokozuna in 20 seconds to win the title, and that's how WrestleMania 9 ended. So if you count that, it's 8. Otherwise, legit main event 7, and it's tied with Triple H, who also had 7.
Oh, okay.
There are only 2 matches that have happened 3 times at a WrestleMania. Rock Austin and Triple H Undertaker. Neither one of those sound tempting to me. I guess Rock Austin over Triple H Taker, but...
Yeah.
And then the longest gap in between WrestleMania matches. Anyone want to guess on this one? I'll give you this hint. We brought him up on last week's episode.
So this means between WrestleMania matches or main events?
Matches.
Oh, man, that's going to be impossible.
Unless you listened to the podcast last week.
It had to be Ricky Steamboat?
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. 21
Nice.
years in between WrestleManias.
Yeah.
How crazy is that? 21 years. Imagine graduating high school and being in WrestleMania, and then currently this weekend you're going to be at WrestleMania.
What was the recent Steamboat match? Do you know?
It was something with Jericho.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I remember that.
And that's it. That's it for the You Didn't Know WrestleMania Facts Edition. And now, here's a voicemail from our dear friend Sebastian in Long Beach.
Happy Saturday, Mr. Main Event. This is Mr. My back is in pain, so I drink too much. Anyhow, Sasha, Sebastian here, of course. Pardon me. As I mentioned, my back's in pain, so I've been sitting here at the local neighborhood pub with my compatriot from France, Mr. Grey Goose. And I was sitting here, and on the TV here in the bar, there was a news headline that came across the screen. It said that for Americans aged between 35 and 59, 61% of them get a feeling of pride when they see the flag. However, Americans 18 to 30, only 19% of them get any pride out of it. Now, I was wondering to myself, what could have caused such cultural decay and this loss of morale? And it dawned on me afterwards that the kids today who don't take any sense of pride in America, these are the kids who were born into a world that only knew Dusty Rhodes as a mainstream name. And angry as I want to be with them, I mean, look at what they've been brainwashed into thinking. I mean, they think the American dream is some goddamned obese son of a bitch who can't even fucking speak English, books himself to go over because he has no, I mean, who the fuck would like him? He's a son of a bitch and he's goddamn fat. And, he has that stupid ass slur about his voice, the lisp or whatever. Sounds like he's a goddamn gay Texan Sylvester the Cat. And, you know what? Fuck him. I'm glad he's dead. Also, by the way, I'm glad you referenced on the show Hunch Tonk Man's new look. I don't think it's by surprise that he revealed that picture on Easter, the week of Easter, because we learned that Honky died for our sins and that tomorrow he shall rise to shake, rattle, and roll for all of mankind. Also, you should look up his shoot interviews where he tells the truth about Dusty Rhodes, calls him a fat fucking pig who hurt me with that stupid goddamn elbow of his. Look it up, people. It's true. Anyhow, Sash, hope you're well. The holy word is spoken. I have to get back to my friend Mr. Goose. Au revoir.
Look, Dusty, this is not Florida in 1975.
Did you have any interactions with Dusty prior to this?
Not really. He was a sorry piece of shit, as far as I'm concerned. If Dusty Rhodes opened his mouth, he's lying. And when I was in the ring with him, he smelled like a dirty fucking pig, and he was a Hulk Hogan could touch you and you never felt him. Dusty Rhodes was like a stiff piece of shit. Every time he touched me, he hurt me.
Next, we will talk about the PWI 500 finale. Fellas, this was my coup de grace, which I believe means gravy on mashed potatoes. There's a lot of hard work that went into this. I think we went through, the last thing was the round of 16, the matchup of 16. So I'm going to go through and tell you guys who the final 8 were and go down. Now, the people who judged, and you guys who were 2 of the people who voted, they already know who was in the finals, but nobody knows who won this thing, except for me. So we had the Jerry Lynn interview taking on Pee-wee's Joke of the Week theme song. And the winner was the Pee-wee Joke of the Week theme song.
Rightfully so.
And they would go on to take on the winner of Hattori Hanzo's emails versus Billy Joe Travis.
Ooh, that's a tough matchup.
Very tough matchup. Very easy win for Hattori Hanzo's emails, who would go on to take on Pee-wee's theme music, Pee-wee Joke of the Week theme. On the other bracket, we have episode artwork versus the Dead or Alive segment. And episode artwork went on to take on the winner of Producer Tony t-shirts versus Producer Tony Hates Steve Blackman. I will tell you this. Producer Tony's t-shirts had a 4-3 advantage, and the last 2 people voted for Producer Tony Hates Steve Blackman.
Wow.
Was I one of them?
Squeezed out the victory. I do have that information somewhere in these scribbles,
That's a shame.
but I'm not going to look for
I
it.
just posted a picture on our Twitter today of Connor wearing the Producer
shirt?
Tony shirt. Yeah. He picked out his wardrobe this morning, and it was his choice to wear
Smart kid.
the Tony shirt. Yeah.
That's a smart kid.
So the final 4, we have Pee-wee's Joke of the Week theme music against Hattori Hanzo's emails.
That's tough.
In what I believe was a shocking turn of events. Pee-wee's Joke of the Week theme music beats Hattori Hanzo's emails.
Can't believe that.
I thought Hanzo was going to win this entire thing.
Agreed.
But Pee-wee Joke of the Week heads to the finals to take on the winner of episode artwork versus producer Tony's hatred of Steve Blackman. And in that one, episode artwork wins. So the finals of the, whatever this is called, do I have it? The PWI 500 128 topic tournament is Pee-wee's Joke of the Week theme music versus episode artwork.
Now this is...
And Sasha, before we do this,
okay,
those are both your creations.
Yes.
So I would love to send bouquets your way. You make the artwork every week, and it's always fantastic. And I don't know how long you took to make that joke theme music, but that is just instant classic.
Well, I appreciate the kind words. I love the fact that nothing that we've talked about for 2 years made it here.
No, not
except for
yet.
your hatred of Steve Blackman made the Final Four. That's the closest that anything came. Yeah, that's nice. You know, it's that's my art. You know, so if you want to buy a commissioned piece, you know, just check the Pro Wrestling Tees store or something, which has none of my art. So. Now this one, there's a little controversy here.
In the finals.
Pee-wee's Joke of the Week theme music versus the episode artwork. Final score 5-4, the slimmest of margins. And the reason why I say, well, I'll get to it in a second, but so the winner of the first ever PWI 500 128 topic tournament in the closest voting in the history of this great sport. By the way, thank you to all 9 of our highly qualified judges. Tony, did you get that drum roll? Give me the drum roll. The first ever winner. Hold on, I gotta put that in my notes as that will be in next year's PWI 500.
God damn it, Sasha.
The first ever winner is Pee-wee's Joke of the Week theme music over episode artwork. Now the controversy lies, this was the same thing as the producer Tony thing. Episode artwork was up 4-3 and ended up losing 5-4. But one of the final judges begrudgingly said, I will take the Pee-wee Joke of the Week theme music unless you accept my write-in vote of the Jerry Lynn interview, which I believe is the rightful winner of this tournament. So it could have ended 4-4-1.
Right.
But since that's not how the games are played, obviously no controversy here.
Wow.
Congratulations, Pee-wee. Congratulations.
No, that has nothing
you.
to do with me. This is congratulations to you. This is not me. This is not, the segment didn't win. The song that plays before I start talking won. This is
the segment was definitely eliminated very early on.
Right,
I believe,
absolutely.
So.
Now, do you have anyone's predictions as to who was going to win?
No. Everybody sent them at random times, and I did not keep any of them.
Okay.
I predicted episode artwork to go all the way, so I am livid at these results. My legal team is working.
You are
through
the
results.
Gonzaga. I believe that's a current reference. You are the Gonzaga, and the Pee-wee Joke of the Week theme is the Baylor. Anybody get that? Is that
I didn't
know
follow
who
you,
those
but
are.
no.
Pee-wee? Who did you think was going to win this thing?
I think I picked the theme.
Okay, I'll check the emails.
I'm trying to pull it up now, but yeah.
Check the tape.
You win nothing, but
I was more curious about like I know Primetime had a prediction. I know other people had predictions. I just want to know what they were.
I will find them. I will find them for next week. I want to say he predicted Santino's episode, but I could be wrong on that. So I will find out. Anyone who sent me a prediction, and we'll talk about it next week. What did you guys think? How annoying was this to get the emails on a consistent basis?
Okay, hold on. When was this? When it was a round of 32, I think. I can't count them. My guess was that Pee-wee's Joke of the Week theme music would win.
Okay.
So out of 32, I had it.
Impressive.
Well, you know what you win, right?
What's that?
the winner of this, which was you, clearly gets the opportunity to tell your own joke in this
play that theme.
installment of Peewee's Joke of the Week. Everybody on your feet, because it's time for Peewee's Joke of the Week.
How does Michelle McCool sleep at night? Undertaker.
Next week on the show, okay, this is weird. Normally my fax machine goes off during the show. I am currently getting a fax, and it is not on. So I gotta read this. Hold on. Oh, is that great acting? Couldn't get this thing to goddamn work. Okay, let's see here. We'll add that printer sound in post. Do we have a post here? Let's see what this says. Okay. This is from the estate of Billy Joe Travis Esquire. This is interesting. It says, to whom it may concern, we'd first like to thank you for bestowing the honor of #1 overall seed to the legend, Billy Joe Travis, in your PWI 500 Peewee Invitational 128 Topic Tournament of Champions. We agree with the decision and are happy with what seems to be a committee of intelligent wrestling historians. That being said, we are absolutely outraged that he who we will call BJT going forward did not win your tournament. Your judges in charge of voting seem to have been mentally altered via chloroform or one of the other trichloromethanes possessed only by those who work with pesticides or plan on doing bodily harm to others. While we don't expect you to reverse any sort of decision regarding this tournament, we would like you to know that in the upcoming weeks, we plan on a retaliation against your brand, Bitter Marks. We're not exactly sure what that retaliation is, but it will be swift and just, and most importantly, deserved. All that being said, we here at the estate of BJT do enjoy your podcast, and maybe we are overreacting, and for that reason, we may decide less on retaliation and more on collaboration. After all, you gentlemen provide the public with a zany, very mild, almost comatose brand of comedy that the world hasn't seen since watermelon smashing sensation Gallagher's brother tried to steal his act. And so, in the spirit of your stupid show, maybe we can be stupid as well. In the upcoming weeks, you will hear from one of our highly esteemed representatives on how we would like to participate in your show. Regards, the estate of BJT.
Wow.
Okay, I don't know what that means. So what making me bitter this week is the WrestleManias this week, and I could care less about it. I don't know if that makes me sad or bitter, but I guess what can make me bitter is that Shane McMahon and Braun Strowman are having a cage match at WrestleMania.
Oof.
Producer Tony, what's making you bitter this week?
That WrestleMania is this week, and we cannot be together in the same room enjoying it with Santino falling asleep and us just, cracking jokes and making fun of Steve Blackman.
Peewee, what's making you bitter this week?
I gotta go with WrestleManias this week. I'm not a I'm not feeling it. Not only am I not feeling WrestleMania, I'm just not feeling wrestling.
I hear you.
Doing a wrestling podcast and trying to get motivated to do this show, I don't know if you can hear it in my voice for the past hour, but I hate this. So yeah, hopefully WrestleMania gets me a little more in the mood for wrestling next. I apologize that I was so down this week, but maybe WrestleMania will get me up next week. It won't. Spoilers. It definitely will not.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/bittermarks. New episodes drop every Friday morning, bittermarks.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram @bittermarks, and email us, bittermarks@gmail.com. Last but not least, buy our shirts. It's tank top season. ProWrestlingTees.com/bittermarkscom. That's COM, as in Massachusetts this week, New Mexico next week. Peewee, Producer Tony. See you guys next week.
Am I supposed to talk about Tom Marquez again?
Bye.
Excuse me, Riddle. Tonight you face the Celtic warrior Sheamus, but I wanted to ask you, why do you think Sheamus attacked you with your own scooter last week?
Honestly, I just wanted to ask him a couple questions, and I don't know if he was having a bad day, or if he had a tummy ache, or maybe he just doesn't have a soul. I just don't know. But one thing I do know is Sheamus pissed me off, and I don't like being pissed off. It's like when you got this sweet, tasty Rito that you've been saving all day, and right before you take your first bite, boom, it hits the floor. Ruined. Hey, Titus, what's up, bro?